Alrighty guys, welcome to part 2. Hopefully we can wrap it up in part 2. There's a couple more talking points we wanted to touch on as we were kind of going through our guns a little bit. I know a lot of macho guys out there would never think to buy one of these little 25s. You know, when you look at the size of this little gun, you know, it just kind of looks dinky compared to something like this. As far as, you know, intimidation goes, as far as capacity goes, and basically all the above. But the reality of the situation is they have different purposes. If you have this gun but you don't have it with you, it's not going to do you any bit of good in a firefight.
Yeah, if you got an H&K sitting in your glove box, unfortunately your H&K is in your glove box. It's not on your belt.
Right. They say a 25 in the pocket's better than a 45 in the closet. So, and you know, I've never met a man that can take a 25 to the face and walk it off. So, you know, that's still enough firepower to get you out of a sticky situation.
You know, looking at it as well, you know, depending on what you're going to want to be using your gun for depends on really what size you want. Like, you know, if you're going to be primarily holster riding and doing shooting drills, you're going to want to carry something like this. It's a little bit larger, fits in the hand a lot better, but it's also going to have reduced recoil, faster resets, so you're going to be able to shoot a little bit quicker and a little bit more accurately. But with that comes the size. You know, you're not going to be able to hide that thing on your belt and not have anyone know that you're carrying a full-size pistol. So.
One thing I want to mention too is sight radius is a big factor in accuracy. You can be the best shooter in the world, but if you only have a few inch sight radius on this thing, or even compared to this thing right here, you know, you're really only as good as your sight radius is letting you be. So the longer your sight radius, the better off you are. I did want to touch on the capacity of the H&K. With the flush fitting right here, it's a 15 round in the mag, 1 in the hole, so you can roll with 16 rounds, which in my opinion is more than enough to get the job done.
Now moving into this philosophy of use, say on this SIG right here, the SIG's going to be a little bit different for you, especially in this P6, because the P6 is only a single stack mag with a 7-shot capacity, so you're 7 plus 1 in the pipe. This is it would be a great sidearm to a battle rig though, because of the all-metal body, all-metal frame, really rugged, really durable. As you can see, we got a lot of holster wear on this one. This is going to be a great option for you if you are working with a rifle, because your rifle is going to be your primary weapon with a backup. You know, so this thing's a little bit smaller. It's gonna cut down the weight on your load-bearing equipment really well, while still giving you a small amount of firepower if you need to transition to a secondary sidearm. So,
one thing I wanted to touch base on revolvers. A lot of people that are new to guns or don't know much about guns will find revolvers to be a little bit easier. They're extremely easy to check if they're open. You only open the cylinder if you're empty and your gun's empty. You don't have to chamber it. You don't have to do anything like that. This particular Smith & Wesson's an air-light version. It can shoot both .357 Magnums and .38 Specials. This is the hardest kicking gun I've ever shot in my life. This thing just absolutely kicks like a mule. It's just the equivalent of holding your hand out and let someone smack it with a baseball bat. This thing is a wild ride. So if you're looking for maybe getting your wife a gun, something like that, you need to take into consideration that because this is such a light gun, this gun's lighter.
And it's such a high caliber as well with that .357 Magnum.
Weighs half as much as this little Glock. I mean, this thing just weighs absolutely nothing, which makes it ideal for carry, but man, you don't want to shoot a box of ammo through it. You're going to have a hard time writing your name after, because it's going to just annihilate your hand. It's an extremely hard kicking gun.
So yeah, that covers those points. Getting into the Glocks, right here we've got 2 of the subcompact Glocks. Even though the 45 is pretty chunky in comparison, you can see the width on that. Sizes are pretty close. They did a really good job of shaving off as much as they could on the 45. But with that fatter grip, that's going to be a little bit harder to conceal. Keeping that in mind, you are carrying a decent amount of firepower with a super high caliber, whereas with this 23 right here, you got a little bit more firepower, a little bit more capacity, but you are sacrificing the size of the subcompact moving up into the compact range. So this is a super comfy gun, and it's pretty small in the hand, but it's still for carry. Glocks can get a little chunky at times, just because of the double stack mag. They slim them down as much as they can, but they do get kind of wide. So keeping that in mind, you want to decide, is this basically just what caliber you're going to want to be going with, what you're going to be more comfortable with. If you want the 45 man stopper, or if you want the 9mm, which is going to be a good man stopper, but you can put a lot more rounds down range. It all just, and then you're into your 357 where you're only shooting 5 rounds, but each one is a bear stopper. You can take down large game with a 357 where you can't do that with a 40 or 45.
So one thing I've learned, I've been concealing my weapon legally, of course, for about 10 years now, and I started with this gun here, and I ended up right here, and then I started even substituting in my air light quite a bit. If you don't find a comfortable system that works for you, you won't carry your gun, period. Your gun needs to be as normal to you as like your wristwatch or your wallet. I mean, without a doubt, it has to go with you everywhere you go, all the time, as long as it's legal, of course. And so that's something you need to take into consideration. If you think you're going to pull this thing off and be packing that thing around, you very well might. But everybody I know that has these big guns, they don't carry them with any frequency at all. It's every once in a while. This all plastic holster right here, I got at one of the last gun shows about 6 months ago, and I've actually been really surprised with how much I like it. It's an inside the waistband holster for the 26. Fits in really nice, comfortable package. It covers the trigger. That's your most important thing for safety. And just rides inside the waistband. It's a great little thing.
It sits high, easy to draw, great in the waistband holster, whereas something like this right here, this Uncle Mike's holster, this is a great holster. Gives you a lot of mounting options. You got a clip so you can go in the waistband if you want to pull some of the retention straps off this or that. But at the same time, you're not going to be able to conceal this one quite as much because it gets kind of large. So that's going to be more of a belt slider right there. You have the opportunity to carry an extra mag in this holster, though I use that for my tack light, to be able to carry around the tack light with me at all times. Something similar to this, I got a Phoenix PD30 right there. Always a great thing to carry around with your guns because it's got the strobe feature, it's got super bright throw. Definitely want to consider carrying around a backup light if you don't have a weapons mounted light.
A lot of these guns have really versatile carry options. These 3 in particular you can carry, on the waistband, in your pocket,
on your ankle.
You get into these other bigger size frames like this. I mean, this thing's basically only outside the waistband. We've got a hard plastic outside of the waistband holster, and I usually roll that in my thigh rig when I'm doing any type of tactical shooting. So it's not very practical to carry this inside your pants. But this is basically us wrapping it up. If you guys have any other questions or comments or anything, go ahead and feel free to let us know. We're going to post another video with a different setup of our guns and kind of go into a little bit more detail about some of these guns here and some of the uses we've put them in, and introduce some of our other toys.
We'll also, in our next few videos, we'll be doing different videos on these to talk about weights, sizes, width, this and that, so you guys can understand the difference in weight between an HK USP9 and an XCAM 25. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more videos coming.